I'm Megan.
I'm Colin.
And this is
Pet Sitter Confessional,
an open and honest discussion about life as a pet sitter.
Brought to you by Time to Pet and Pet Perennials. Have you heard of a flight nanny? It's an aspect of pet care that not many people talk about or even know about is an option. We're really excited to have JP back on the show. He's the owner of Dog Days and Cat Naps and was previously on episode 180, where he talked about what it was like buying a business and integrating and expanding the business past that. But today, he walks us through the ins and outs, the legalities, the insurance, the process of flying a pet on an airplane for a client. Let's get started.
Thanks for having me again. Everyone, listeners, if you are a great fan of Colin, I am one too. Short intro, I am the owner of Dog Days and Cat Naps, pet sitting company here in Northeast Florida. The company has been around since year 2000, so it has been our 22nd year. I am a new owner. I am not going to take full credit on my previous show. Colin and I have talked about, the ins and outs of buying a business and taking over a pet sitting company and the success story that I had through that process and that transition process. So this company has been in business for 20 years. I've been the owner for 5 years and have been growing this business exponentially. And luckily I was able to take over a couple of years before COVID, was able to survive the 2 years that we got stung by COVID and the evolution of the business that I'm in and the topic that we're going to discuss today with Colin as far as how and why I got into the whole flight nanny stage.
Yeah, I know many of us think of pet transportation, and that's usually getting a dog or pet in our car and driving them across town. This is a little bit more involved. So what actually is a flight nanny, and what are some of the roles and tasks that you do with that?
That's a great question. A lot of people this is a new thing. I think back to start it off, back then, the whole transportation business of pets was mainly on even our company. We call it pet taxiing, which is from the word taxi with your pets. And by the way, Colin, I was trying to Uber my way in and out of Chicago recently, and I found out that Uber actually has an option on your app that you could have rides with your pets. So that's very, very interesting.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, we our company, we're in Jacksonville and St. Augustine. So when I took over the business, a portion of the type of service that the previous owner I took over with was pet taxiing. It's like exactly what Colin said. We transport mostly right now from the clients' houses. We pick up their pets. We transport them to either to their vet visits or to their groomers, or some of them a lot of them we partner with daycares or boarding facilities, because we are not a kennel facility where, believe it or not, they want us to pick up from their house, drop them off for a daycare the whole day. We pick them up at night when the daycare is about to close, and then we stay overnight with the client's house. And then it's repeat. The next day when we wake up, we bring those dogs again. We pet taxi them to the daycare. And we have quite a few clients that are like that. And that's what we call pet taxiing. Now, going back to what the flight nanny is, the story behind it was I little my followers, people know, I got into this miniature huskies, what we call Pomskis. And I'm great fan of those. And I started breeding responsibly, tried to research and breed myself, and when I had a litter during COVID, I was thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to transport these puppies to their new homes? And most of the new families that I found on social media or on the internet are from out of state. They're not from Florida. And so there was a need for me to find a way to transport these puppies to their homes. And back in the good old days, the traditional way of transporting is what they call pet cargo. So for many, many years, pet cargo was there. What a pet cargo is you like like your regular cargos, you check them in, and then they have to be in this crates, these huge plastic kennel type crates, and then they go into a cargo. And have I used it? Yeah, I've probably two of my puppies, one's from Utah and one of my huskies from Ohio. They both went here many years ago using pet cargo. And was it scary? Absolutely, but it worked. It was the only option that we had because it was too far to drive. There's people that would drive 8, 12 hours for a puppy, but not when you're across the country like Utah to Florida. So a lot of people use the pet cargo, but there's a lot of, even back pre-COVID, there's a lot of limitations to that because, like for Florida, there's an embargo. There's what they call the weather variable, where during the summer months when it's hot, you can't transport a puppy or any pets at all through flying if it's more than 80 degrees. So the only way that we could have puppies in and out of Florida during the summer is if it's after hours, maybe 9 o'clock at night till maybe 5 in the morning, where the temperature is not above 80 degrees. So I would imagine back in the days when I had my puppies, I had to wait till midnight to pick them up because that's the only time that this flights would bring these pets to Florida. And maybe the same thing. I don't know. Maybe it's the same thing with those winter months in the northern states, where I would imagine they wouldn't fly puppies in and out if it's too cold. So it's probably the opposite. So again, when I had a litter of palm skis, I got to figure out how to fly them. So I researched and I realized there's flight nannies. What flight nannies are instead of putting them in cargo or flying them cargo, the airlines allow you to bring pets in cabin and fly pets in cabin with you. And that's where it all started. I research it. There's a little bit of basic restrictions that are involved. The first rule that I find with most airlines is obviously they have to have their health papers to go with, and they have to be at least 10 weeks old. Some airlines, I mean, Delta, for one, I fly Delta. They're strict with a 10-week-old policy, so a puppy has to fly 10 weeks or older. Some airlines may differ. I know United is 12 weeks or so. So they wanted to make sure that they follow those age rules. They want to make sure they have the health certificates, vaccinations, vet records, and all that. And then also the maximum that they could have size wise is 20 pounds. So even if you have a puppy that's 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, people could fly with their pets only if they're less than 20 pounds. So that's the thing. And you have to have a pet approved carrier. So you have to have your bag that is pet approved by the airlines. I usually just buy them out of Amazon. Amazon would say this is airline approved carriers, pet carriers that you could bring with you. And, obviously they have to fit under the seat. So the only pets that are allowed in cabin that are free range from not being in a bag under the seat is if they're service animals.
Right.
So if you see a bigger lab or bigger dogs that flies in cabin in an airplane, they have to be service animals. 2 years ago they were allowing emotional support animals, but a lot of people kind of people got greedy. They were using that as an excuse. It was so much easy to get an emotional support certificate. And they say, oh, this is cheaper than paying a pet cabin fee. And that's the other one. Pet cabin fee, airlines charge $125 per ticket per way. So say, Colin, you went to Texas with Megan. If you were to bring a pet with you that is flying in cabin with you. Going to Texas, you have to pay $125. And going back home, you have to pay another $125 on top of your airline tickets. The flight nanny started during COVID when the variables were set where I can't transport my puppies through ground transportation or through pet cargo. So I braved myself to say, hey, I even brought my two sons with me, by the way, which is maybe bad parenting 101. But yeah, so I brought my two boys with me because we have four puppies. So you're allowed to have a maximum of two puppies in one bag. And they have to be of the same breed. Like, that's the restriction. You have to be the same breed. And as long as they're both less than 20 pounds, you could have two puppies in one bag. Unfortunately, we had four puppies that we fly together. So I brought my two sons and we all fly. And we kind of learned the ropes from there. And then, and then it got famous on social media that people, oh, okay, JP knows how to fly puppies. So one breeder after the other that I met, and my name got out there, and I would have people contacting me that, hey, can you fly my puppy? Or, hey, I got your number from a breeder. I heard you're a flight nanny. Can you fly your puppy for me? So I've been doing that, was it 2020, 2021? So maybe this is my second year that I'm flying puppies now as a flight nanny. And I know I have two other flight nannies, my pet sitters that are, very flexible in flying as well. So I have two of them that have helped me. And it was a good evolution, an add-on service that you could add on top of what we normally do as a pet sitter. So it kind of makes sense for us because we're already experienced in taking care of pets. Yeah. So flying them was just, it was easier, relatively easier, because we're so used to taking care of pets, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, again, hearing that and going, well, this is kind of born out of necessity of I can't do anything with these dogs unless they get to their client, get to the people who want them, and now kind of backing it into and kind of expanding that a little bit. Did you need any sort of, did the airlines want to see that you had any certifications or licensing or anything like that to be transporting the dogs?
No.
Really?
No, not at all. There is, in fact, a Facebook group that just mainly a group of flight nannies. I think it's Flight Nanny something on Facebook. I'm a part of it. And people would post there all the time, I need a flight nanny from here and here. So you'd see a lot of individuals that does it. There's no licensing. There's an insurance though.
Sure.
So there's an insurance policy that you could buy. So I contacted, most of the pet sitters, all of us that owns, maybe goes through PSI or do business insurance, of Carolinas. They don't cover it. They don't do flight nanny. Anything as long as involved in flights or go in an airline, they don't give you coverage. I may be wrong, but I've already inquired with them. I asked them, hey, I want to add flight nanny in my service. And they did not. So I actually changed insurance carriers last year. So the new insurance carrier does cover flight nanny for insurance. It does cost a little bit more than your traditional pet sitting, obviously. But if you're charging a lot more, then yeah, absolutely, it's worth it. That extra peace of mind, as we all know, in the pet sitting world, I always educate everybody, being licensed, bonded, insured. Liability is always nice to have yourself covered. So they do that. Especially these puppies are expensive. Most of the puppies that we fly, I have flown a very expensive puppy for an NFL player. Jalen Ramsey was a Jacksonville Jaguars player, and I was contacted by his breeder that, hey, can you fly this puppy? When I found out it's from Jalen Ramsey, I mean, yeah, 100%. So I did it, and I brought his puppy, and he was with LA Rams now, and in fact, he won his first Super Bowl last month.
Yeah.
And I flew his puppy for him, and it's one of those experiences that you would never forget that be part of. But to answer your question, it's definitely a plus to have that insurance, as we all know liability is there, and having an extra peace of mind, something happens, you're covered.
Have you heard of Time to Pet? Dan from NYC Pooch has this to say.
Time to Pet has been a total game changer for us. It helped us streamline many aspects of our operation, from scheduling and communication to billing and customer management. We actually tested other pet sitting softwares in the past, but these other solutions were clunky and riddled with problems. Everything in Time to Pet has been so well thought out. It's intuitive, feature-rich, and it's always improving.
If you are looking for new pet sitting software, give Time to Pet a try. Listeners of our show can save 50% off your first 3 months by visiting timetopet.com/confessional.
Yeah, well, especially having a dog in your possession across such a wide variety of scenarios, right? Not just driving,
Correct.
but you're doing multiple transitions, you're going across multiple state lines. There's a lot more involved with that.
Sometimes they stay with me in a hotel. There's layovers that got, like, especially on winter times where you miss flights or flights get canceled. So now you gotta be in, hotels with them and stay in hotels with them and those stuff. So, it's definitely not easy, but if you're really very passionate with pets and know what you do, it could be a fun gig. I travel places that I've never thought I'd be. You're in Missouri, right, Colin?
Yes.
Are you? So I went to St. Louis Airport, one of my favorite airports, and Kansas City Airport, one of the, I would say, easiest airport you could go in and out, from, because it's a big letter U horseshoe. Just be sure you're not from one end to the other, or else you'll be walking half a mile. But airports, I get to know airports now because I travel in, and it's a great, if it's the summer, I bring my kids with me. We know a breeder that has a ranch in Iowa, and I brought them for a week and teach this boys the farm life, and you could, some of the flight nannies that I know, they make it fun by making it travel. You're more, some of the flight attendants even talked to me and said, I'd rather have your job. So I think diving into those who are interested in doing, I know I had a few friends that asked me, oh, how could I be a flight nanny? So I know, and they started their research and go online, and some companies out there that open up a bigger company of flight nannies, a lot of them get stuck to the question that, which airline do you work with? So, I mean, why is it a question, or a big question, in applying to be a flight nanny? I'll tell you why. Most of the flight nannies out there, Colin, are working for the airlines. Most of them are flight attendants because they get to fly for free. So it's majority, more than 50% of the flight nannies out there are working for the airlines because they're taking advantage of the free flights. Then they get to charge customers the flight nanny fee. Like, for example, for me, my average flat fee for flying a puppy is $575.
Okay.
But then, at the end of the day, do the math. I don't work for the airlines, so I buy my own tickets, round trip, right? And then it's your time. At the end of the day, some of the people that I educate, oh, this is what you do, this is how, and then they come back to me. How do you do it? It's not worth it. I'm like, so I come back and say, well, that's the same thing with pet sitting. Sometimes people ask me, like, why do you pet sit? It's like, it's a lot of work, but there's a little money. I said, well, you're in the wrong industry. You're in the wrong business. If you don't have the passion or the heart for the animals, then you should find another job, Same with flight nannying. The only reason I can make it work is that, I for one work from home, or should I say work online. So as long as I bring my computer with me, I can bring my work with me. So I'm able to multitask. And Delta, I think I pay $50 a month calling with Delta. I get free Wi-Fi when I'm on the air. So I get to bring my work with me wherever I go. So even if I'm up in the air on a 3-4 hour flight, I got Wi-Fi up there. So, and then the second motivation for me, obviously, the first is it feels great to be part of this pet's first time journey of meeting their new owners. I've seen the reward is once you deliver a puppy and you meet them. Usually we meet airport to airport. So you pick up the puppy from the airport from the breeder, for example. Pick up the puppy, you check them into the gates, then you fly the puppy with you. Usually once you're up in the air, once the air something about the motion of the aircrafts, they're gonna be falling asleep in that flight. Once you arrive to your destination, I always meet people in the baggage claim area. That's the easiest meeting point. I'll tell them, hey, here's my flight number. You could always check if we arrive. And most passengers go straight to baggage claim. So let's just meet the baggage claim. I meet them there, and then seeing this family's excitement of meeting a new puppy and being a witness of that journey, and you're being part of that journey, and you being able to make that reality that they've been dreaming to have this puppy and finally they're going to meet this puppies for the first time. It's an amazing feeling. I've seen people that just cry tears of joy. So it was very rewarding to have that. Obviously the income or the money, and it all comes next, but it's very rewarding. And then the second for me, the motivation is I travel a lot, and I only use Delta because as you travel more, you earn miles, obviously. I have probably about 650,000 miles by now. And I'm now in the diamond medallion status, which is the highest medallion status for Delta, which is nice because when I travel with my kids or my wife, I get bumped up to first class for free. And then, we get access to the club lounges. So you're now traveling in style. But then at the back of my head, I'm not a CEO that flies all over the country for work. I'm a CEO that works for puppies and fly these puppies all over the country, which is fun.
Yeah.
But those comes later. Those are extra perks. Now I have these tons of miles that I could use for my family. I may not have made a huge profit dollar wise, but I've earned this, through the process. Yeah. And like I said, it did help to keep myself busy during the whole COVID time, because a lot of us pet sitting companies really got hit bad during COVID. So we got to do what we need to do to survive.
You kind of adapt and see what's out there. And then, as you said, it's not just a one benefit. And I think many times we try and make decisions and try and see, what do I get out of it? But if we don't broaden our minds and think of, there's actually multifacets to this. There's 4 or 5 different things that I end up getting back, some of them non-monetary, right? But we can focus on those as a motivation at times to make those kind of decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of them would pay like the NFL player, like I said, because you're a pet sitter, they end up calling me sometimes that, hey, I'll fly you to LA. Can you watch my dog for a weekend? Stuff like those. So again, it ties down back to what you are, is you're a pet sitter, loud and proud. You're a pet sitter. You're good in taking care of pets. And it's just surprisingly, I would get text messages now that are being spreaded by other people that you fly for, because these breeders, they're always going to have puppies. They're always going to have buyers. Now they're not limiting themselves to just being able to rehome them locally. Now they have the option to rehome them wherever they want to, because they have a trusted, reliable flight nanny. So it's like our pet sitting business. It's naturally a repeat business. It's a natural recurring business. And we all want to be in a recurring business. We all want to be in a business where it's not a one-time deal. You know, you don't want to be a wedding photographer because you're only going to be there for their wedding. And then you'll be lucky enough if they'll use you for their baby pictures. Maybe not, you know. So you want to be in a business where, like I said, it all started with my own litter of puppies that I fly. And it only took for other readers to see that, hey, he was able to do it. Now, can you do it for me?
Yeah.
And then you end up working with network of 4 or 5 different readers. Before you know it, you're busy. So, you know, and I have people who wants to do my job. I have people that's pretty cool. I want to do it, you know, so because it could be fun, you know. I mean, I had pet sitters that fly for me and said, I would have never imagined that these puppies are the reason why I was able to ride an airplane. You know? So it's just being able to have that opportunity to travel is great. I even had one flight nanny that traveled to Brazil and had an it's so fun. She had an all expenses paid ticket to Brazil and she got $500 for pocket money. So she had an all expenses paid hotels, tickets there, and she was paid $500. I mean, who does not want to do that job?
Right.
And you are snuggling their puppy along the way. I mean,
come on.
It's fun.
Well, so on that, you know, I know you said that you have a flat fee and then sometimes you buy your own tickets. Does that kind of negotiation happen with the client who you're transporting the puppy for about who's going to cover what?
Correct. So back in the good old days, everything was cheap. You know, when I say good old days, during the COVID. So I had the luxury of calling during COVID where I kid you not, there were flights that I was only guy in the aircraft. It was the tickets were cheap. Yeah, it was. And then I think for about 6 months, I'd say about maybe more, that they were spreading out seats like it's every other seat. So they were back to flying, but they won't have any 2 persons sitting together. So it was fun. I mean, I would buy tickets, round trip tickets from Florida to San Francisco for, maybe $150. It was so cheap. So yeah, going back to that, that's the going rate. More charges $575. It's usually about $500-$600 is what people pay for flight nannies. But then be realistic. I like if there's a request for me to fly and do the math, it doesn't make me any profit. There are 2 only ways to do it. Number one is I'll ask them, are you fine to wait until I find another puppy that I could make during that route? Say I'm going to Texas, I'm going to find another flight nanny that's going from Texas coming back here. Then it makes it worthwhile to buying a ticket that's round trip because, you know, I'm instead of one way round trip and I'm making more into that. And the second, if it is really just one round trip, I'll be honest with the clients. Hey, this is the price of my ticket. You know, I can't do it because it's right. You know, either you cost, I usually do cost plus. So say, I'll be honest with them. I say, okay, I can't do it at $575. And there are clients that are okay with that. My ticket price is $600. And then for my time, I'll charge $200. Just for example, some clients will be fine. I say like, okay, I'll pay you $800 to do it. Then I'll do it, you know? So like I said, you probably made $200 for a 1-day job, but then like the non-monetary side of things kicks in. You earn miles, you know, you rack up your miles, you're tearing up to your airline medallion statuses that you get to enjoy the perks later on. And like I said, you know, the non-monetary follows, but yeah, there are room for negotiation, especially now that, the flights are back. Right now, the tickets are outrageous again. So, you know, but I was able to. I have a friend that works for the airline, very nice gentleman, and I was able to keep him busy. Those. So what I did was I partnered with him. I told him, dude, those that I can't fly myself because the tickets are just outrageous, would you do the jobs for me? So he kept, like, for the months, like, I would probably do 2, 3 flights a month. And then during those times that I have a request that I can't do, I pass it on to him because he works for the airlines and he able to do it for relatively a lot cheaper than I could do. Then it kind of works. So, and then I have a network of flight nannies that I work with, which is kind of great because we're not just, like, for me here, that's what I do. I try to collaborate with other companies. Like here, Dog and Bad to the Bone. And same thing we do over here in Florida. I mean, I contact him many times, said, hey, I can't do this flight. Can you help me out? And, she helps out. The same thing. He borrows some of my pet sitters. Is like, hey, I need people. Can you help me out? So we're kind of like, that's kind of my mentality in business. We're not here to kind of divide and conquer. We're kind of here to collaborate and work. And at the end of the day, you end up getting more. They say if you want to reach your destination fast, do it by yourself. You'll go there first. But if you want to reach somewhere farther, do it together. Mm-hmm. And I always learn that. Hey, what's your goal? Do you want to be in this? Do you want to be the first? Then yeah, by all means, do it by yourself, But is that really your goal? Do you want to reach a further destination? Then you can't do it by yourself. You have to do it together and have somebody do it with you. So,
well, it definitely is a team effort, as you said, of like, you might not be personally able to do that particular flight, or it doesn't fit in with the schedule or pricing, and trying to figure out, okay, how can we make this service work to get that dog to where it needs to go? But when you get a request for a flight nanny, what goes through your mind in preparing for that flight?
It's very nice to have the experience in the pet sitting world. So I give them a form field, like what I do with my pet sitting company. I give them, like, hey, go to this form field, fill out like a contact us form, like fill out the details, basic information I need, like who they are, what their name, what kind of dog it is, how old, date, what's the airport pickup, what's the airport drop off, when. So I have those basic information. And then I prepare and go at the airlines. I go Expedia or see what kind of tickets are there and see if it's doable. And if it's me personally, or if it's a team of pet sitters that works as flight nannies for me, do it. So doing that logistics, and then to prepare ourselves, again, going back because we have the experience in the pet sitting world, we send them an email template. Hey, we are happy to be your flight nanny. Here's what a list of things that we need to do to prepare prior to your flight. Where we usually provide our own pet carrier bag. I always educate people that those pet carriers are always constantly change. After 2-3 uses, I give it away to the new owners because I want something new, because puppies are very prone to Giardia or coccidia or any parvo, knock on wood, those kind of diseases. You just don't want to have a bag full of diseases, So soon as we get home, we make sure that we wash those bags, and sanitize them. I usually give them, some breeders would give them sedative. I don't. Because I know how to kind of make them a little bit more relaxed with the flights. I have mastered the art of not use the pet station in the airports because they're dirtier and whatnot than dog parks. So what I use is I find the nearest family room in the airport. And those family rooms are not the traditional cubicle. When you go to your restrooms, you have cubicles that you could see through under by the ankle down. These family rooms are door shut kind of when you change your diapers, kind of family rooms where you could lock yourself there. So I would lock myself there, and I would, drop some pee pads and make sure I have pee pads with me, and I have those collapsible water bowls. I would grab them. I would have bully sticks to keep them occupied. I normally don't suggest feeding. I would ask the families that, if it's a flight, I would ask the breeders not to feed them 3 hours before the flight, because a lot of them would have motion sickness, and the first thing is they throw up.
Yeah.
You end up cleaning them. I've never had a poop accident, knock on wood. If it's more than 3 hour flight, again, I would go to these tiny little bitty lavatories in the aircraft. And I would let them just kind of space out and roam around on a pee pad. And there are bags that I use that are collapsible in a way where you could open the side pockets of those bags and it becomes bigger. Normally I would lay pee pads inside of that. Those are useful. CBD, I usually use CBD treats if it's okay with them. It helps calm them down. But like I said, more often than not, 90% of the time, once that aircraft take off, they just sleep through the flight. And I don't know. It's definitely the motion that the aircraft make them sleep. And I hope that's the same for babies, because it's not easy to travel with babies and kids. So, but yeah, that's kind of it. I prepare myself. I tell them the same thing, meet you at the luggage claim, make sure you have your own transport, like bags or leash or harness or ring towels and what have you. And that's it. We kind of do it that way. And then just like the pet sitters, we give them a lot of text message with pictures, dates, and all those fun stuff.
Yeah, you can kind of bring them into, again, help that experience of making them a part of that journey, as you said, of like, this is you getting to meet your new puppy. Here they are. We could tell that story of puppy's first flight to bring it to them. I can definitely see how that'd be super cool.
They like pictures with the flight attendants. They like pictures during the check-in. They like pictures during the flight. We've learned this ropes as pet sitters, that we know that our clients, they enjoy that. They enjoy getting feedback with pictures and reports step by step. They just enjoy knowing that, hey, my puppy is being well taken care of. So that's a plus.
Our friends at Pet Perennials make it easy as 123 to send a heartfelt condolence gift directly to someone with a broken heart. They have this awesome direct-to-client gift service that takes the effort off of us and ensures a thoughtful, personalized sympathy gift reaches our client or employee. All gift packages include a handwritten card, colorful gift wrap, and shipping fees across the U.S. and Canada. They also offer an array of milestone gifts and greeting cards that can be sent to celebrate birthdays, extend get well wishes, and welcome new and even rescued pets. Additionally, there are gift choices in case you need to send a sympathy gift in memory of a special human client, or celebrate pregnancy, engagement, or wedding of a pet lover. If you're interested, register for a free business account to unlock the all-inclusive discounted package prices. Since the service is leveraged on an as-need basis, there is no monthly or annual obligation or minimum purchase. Learn more and register by using the link in the show notes. And enter the referral code PSC at registration. You'll get a unique coupon code to save $2 off any packages that you send in your first 90 days.
Well, so you've done, all of your flights have been with dogs. Are there flight nannies that do other pet transportations, or is that,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there are cats. Now, the problem really and it's funny you said that, Colin, because here in Jacksonville Airport, I went one of the nicest, cleanest. I hate to be biased, but one of the nicest pet station is here locally where we are at in Jacksonville. When I say nice, because they have AstroTurf and they have a view of the runway, and they got rocking chairs too, and not just that, they got litter boxes. So going to that topic, wow, a pet station with litter box? I mean, so true enough, I've been to flights before that they have cats, and we all know dogs are as equal as cats are. People, in fact, probably have more cats than dogs in one household. because they can afford to have multiple cats than multiple dogs. So they travel that. The only restriction we have with that, Colin, is that I'm kind of more still hesitant doing that, because we all know, even as pet sitters, when you transport a cat, it could be, you just watch on YouTube on the challenges of vet clinics on how just basically getting them out of the carrier, they are just going to panicking. The moment you open the carrier from traveling from home to the vet, it's just, that's why vets always ask you, oh, can you please put towels on your carrier? Because they don't want to be shaken. They want to make sure they claw to something, because the first sign of taking them out of that carrier is they're going to claw on you. Yeah. It's going to be panicking and scared. So I would figure that's the main reason, because cats. But I have seen people that I met that flew with cats and they were able to do it. But I would imagine those are the people that these cats are experienced in traveling. They've been to car rides before, or the traditional household cat, you can't even put them inside a car. They would freak out. So, but yeah, no, I haven't personally gone into that or venture into that, but mostly it's just puppies.
Again, there's probably more need for that service as well than there are typically for cats and their transportation across in this kind of style and doing it this way.
I would say do a lot of research. Try to do it once first, kind of get to know if it's something that you would do, get to learn the ropes. Research. There's different Facebook groups for flight nannies out there. Put yourself in there. Contact breeders first that might need help for flight nanny. And then all it takes is just one job. Do a great job on it, and then they're always going to repeat and repeat and repeat, because there's really a finite amount of flight nannies out there. The flight attendants now are getting reprimanded by the airlines for abusing their free flights. So
okay.
So now and then the downside of hiring a flight attendant is they always fly standby. So they can never give the new owners a definite timeline. And that's not nice, right? So, like, imagine I tell you, Colin, I'm going to bring you a puppy tomorrow, but I'm not sure what time I'm arriving. So that's going to be hard. So you're going to block up. Yeah, you're going to be blocking off your entire day, not knowing if, because again, they fly standbys. So, and with the busy season that we have right now, there's not enough airlines, there's not enough seats, there's not enough workers everywhere. I've had one time that I was stuck in an airport because there's not enough aircraft crew. So, the world that we're evolving right now is just different. So yeah, do it. I would try, my best advice is I would try to contact local breeders, because then it serves the purpose of hiring you as their flight nanny, because you fly local. You're basically not trying to travel to Missouri to pick up, then you travel to San Francisco and then go back to Florida. So I know a lot of people in Missouri, because that's kind of like, the corn haven. And there's a lot of land. Yep. There's a lot of cows. So there's a lot of breeders out there. So, and I know a lot of breeders out there. So it'll be nice to know and start with that, and know that, let me start with my local, because they know that I'm going to fly in and out of the local airport where you're in. So, and it's cheaper for you to do it. Say you and Megan has to do it. That's what I would contact local breeders around the area. Hey, I would like to be your flight nanny, and and kind of discuss that, and it takes one from the other, and then it'll kind of spiral from there.
who is this a good fit for as far as who should kind of pursue this? Do they have to have certain things set up in their business to make this work, or or anything like that?
The weirdest that I could tell you is that majority of actually that does this are, again, more than 50% that I know of work for the airlines.
Okay.
The flight attendants, I think, logistic wise and the numbers wise, because they could fly free. Now, but if you ask me who is this for, I think this is a perfect fit for an industry as pet sitters. If you love pets and you know how to take care of pets, this is a great opportunity for you. Number two is if you like to travel. So if you're a traveler, this job is for you. This is like a dream job for you. It's the best of both worlds. You get to have the cuddle time with the puppies, and at the same time you get to travel. Then, yeah, this would be a perfect job for you. So, or you could be like me, who's like an online entrepreneur who have multiple companies that, as long as I'm in front of a computer with internet, I'm in business. I'm at work. So, yeah, those are just probably some of the stuff that I'd say. I know I have some flight nannies that are not flight attendants, and that's all they need. They just want to travel without worrying where to travel and to pay for the travel. So it's a great job.
Well, yeah, especially as I know you had alluded to a little bit earlier of going, well, we can make this trip into more than just point A to point B, right? So that's that other part of, if you like to travel, if you are interested in seeing other places, you can start stringing some of these things along and go, well, I always wanted to go to San Francisco anyway. So if I can get a dog there, now I can spend a week and then I can come back and work it that way too. Like that's you can start using this as part of your plan and your travel ideas.
Correct. When the COVID started and I knew that my boys are going to be in virtual school, we went to San Francisco, for example. We traveled, my youngest son and I, my wife and I went straight to San Francisco from Florida. And then my other son and I went pick up puppies there in Iowa. And then we met them in San Francisco. Because my son and I were carrying about 4 puppies, do the math, it was more than enough to pay for our entire trip to San Francisco with the entire family, plus the hotels.
Yeah.
So we made a trip out of it. I've had flight nannies before that I would pick up in the Midwest, like Missouri, for example. If I go to St. Louis, then I would fly to LA or to Seattle. Then on the way back, I would pick up again in the mid areas. Then I would go east. Then I go home, so you could make stop points, pick up, and then make it. But at the same time, like in April, my wife and I are going to Pennsylvania because there are 2 poodles that needs to be flying back home here in Florida. So I told my wife, tickets and the hotels are cheaper for us, both you and I, to make a weekend out of it, which is what we're doing. So, yeah. Like I said, it's a great thing to do if you're like traveling and you don't have to worry about paying for your bills to travel. Then this is it. This is the job for you.
And all it takes, as you said, is getting contacted with some local breeders or maybe even some local clients who are travel around the country and want their pets taken with them as well.
Feel free to contact me, because I can even, if you're really serious about it, I could educate you, and maybe I could, like I said, we can network, and I can let you, hey, I know the breeders already, so I'll let you do the flying. I'll do the talking. Hey, I know this. Oh, I can't do it. Colin could do it. Oh, Megan could do it. Dog could do it. It's like that. But yeah, it's really is. All it takes is, like I said, my friend who works for Southwest now, he's busy as can be. It's like, so I'm just throwing people his way. So and that's all it takes is having these relationships and kind of planting seed, and it just continue to grow. So would I ever want to keep doing it? I told my wife I want to do it maybe once a month just to give myself the opportunity to give a sanity and go out there and do your little alone time and travel. But if it continues to grow, maybe I don't know, maybe it could be a good retirement job, And like I said, in April 1st to 3rd, my wife and I are going to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, because there's a demand for it. There's a need for it. So,
Yeah.
You be able to do it.
I really love this idea, and I love how it's growing in popularity. And I totally agree that pet sitters are the ones who should be stepping up and offering that service, because we have that experience, we have the credentials and the training, and why not, right? And especially if it's something that interests you. So I'm very excited to see where this starts going.
And it's easier for us to do because it comes out naturally. We're so good with animals, and it really is not. Like I have a neighbor, he's a retired cop. He's been in service for 25 years, but they just got their first puppy, So he asked me, can I be a flight? And I was like, oh, maybe enjoy your puppy first, get to know how to handle your own puppy. And then it's just hard to jump from not having a pet and then all of a sudden you're a flight nanny.
Yeah.
It takes a lot in a pet person to have patience in doing this, because it's not all rainbows and butterflies. There's challenges, so you have to be prepared with those challenges. All right.
Which is, as a pet sitter, we encounter those quite a bit on our day-to-day anyway. So it kind of comes naturally.
Yes, absolutely.
JP, thank you so much for sharing and shedding some light on this part of the industry that's growing in popularity, and where we can get started, and some tips about that. But if somebody does want to reach out to you and pick your brain and start making some of those connections, how best can they do that?
Hey, you guys could, contact me. My website is dogdayscatnaps.com. My email is admin@dogdayscatnaps.com. Call in. Happy to share those information when you send out an email to this. But yeah, I always believe that our industry is ever evolving, and our pet sitters, I always tell people, we have to constantly adapt. The whole flight nanny, it happened because, I was struggling with the pet sitting business and COVID was there, but I took that opportunity to be able to turn that negativity to something positive. And I think as pet sitters, that's a takeaway. I think we should continue to face those challenges and evolve. We have to find out what works and what is the demand and what does people need in order for us to provide a better pet service. So, and just flight nanny came into the picture. So if you guys are interested, if you want to be a flight nanny, believe me, you do not have to work for the airlines to do it, so you could do it. I don't, ironically speaking, calling my wife flight attendant. So if anything, she was more qualified than me, but she, when she comes to me, she tells me one thing: I can't believe that you do this. It's not an easy job, but like pet sitters, you know what? Because we love, it's passion. It was really our passion to do what we do as pet sitters. Again, I'm going back to what I said. It will come out naturally.
I really believe that too, JP. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And I'll have links to your website and your email as well, so people can get in touch, so they can start networking and asking questions about this to see if it is going to be a good fit for them. And again, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to do this, and really looking forward to seeing where this whole thing goes.
Hey, thank you so much. Congratulations, Colin, Megan. You guys are superb. Well, waiting. Hopefully you do me again on your 1,800 episode.
Let me go ahead and get you scheduled in. That'll do. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. That was awesome. That was awesome, JP.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
If you want to reach your destination, do it yourself. If you want to reach further, do it together. It's a really good reminder that in pet care and the services that we provide, we're not doing it alone. There are people that you can reach out to, collaborate with, whether that's in a local community or abroad on an international Facebook page. As we continue to evolve, we will provide better and better and more specialized pet care service. So whether that is something like a flight nanny for a client or whatever that looks like in 5 or 10 years from this point, we need to stay fresh and we need to continue to think about the needs that our clients have, both here and beyond what we currently offer, and whether that's a good fit for us. Flight nanny sounds like an amazing opportunity for the right person. So just because it's popular, just because it's growing, just because there's an interest in it, doesn't mean it's the right fit for everybody. And that's something that we have to assess every single time these kind of decisions come up. We want to thank our sponsors, Time to Pet and Pet Perennials, for making today's show possible, and thanking our allergies for giving us a sore throat and tonsillitis. So thank you so much for listening today and for your continued support. We'll be back again soon.